everybody, my name is Necroxis, and as you can see from the video title below, I'm going to be barfing out all my opinions about Blizzcon 2017, the first Blizzcon I ever personally attended. And before we begin, I just want to thank all of you once again, and say from the bottom of my heart, you guys are the greatest. You allowed me to go to Blizzcon, you helped pay for my plane ticket. One of the most memorable experiences in my life, even with how the shitty way that it ended, which I'll get to eventually. I'm just super grateful, and I love all of you who donated. So, yeah. So, this is the first BlizzCon that I actually attended. I got a press pass. Let's see if I can show you guys it without revealing my entire name. I got a press pass, as you can see. My first BlizzCon, I get a media pass, so that's pretty cool. I'm considered a member of the media, because of my connections at Blizzard that I made this year, some of which you guys already know, helped me go to Blizzard again last June for a tour of the facility and all the goodies. You can watch those videos if you want. So, everybody who goes, I figured let's show some of the swag off first. I didn't buy anything extra because I kind of just wanted to be there and have fun and not stand in lines for hours and hours and hours just buying overpriced things. But everyone that bought a physical ticket got one of these. A BlizzCon backpack. You also get a bunch of these patches that you can connect to your bag whenever way you want. A big feature of BlizzCon now is they're really pushing heavily the patch trading. Although if you're antisocial like me, you could just buy a whole bunch of packs that are randomized and hope you get what you want. I didn't really care about this, so as you can see, I only got the default ones. I kind of organized it in how I actually care about, the properties with Warcraft up here, and then StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm. I'd have Diablo a little bit higher, maybe like right here, if they actually bothered to do anything with that franchise. So there we go, we got that. I also got a little Mercy here, you can see. Mercy. She's pretty cute. So that's it. And then also I got, also with the basic ticket, I got a little Bastion. And another friend of ours just happened to be in the Hearthstone area when a bunch of these were just being given out for free. So I got a little bit of I got one of the tavern, the innkeeper from Hearthstone. So the first day I flew in on Thursday night, and I want to say ahead of time that next time I plan on going, I want to either go a day before or stay a day after, or both if I can afford it. Because I still was kind of rush. Even when I was there, I didn't have a lot of time just to sit and chill. Thursday night, I arrived in the mid-afternoon, about 3 o'clock. I was picked up by Howie, as most of you people who watched me for a while know who that is. We used to do But Wait, There's Lore together, and we both left together, and we've been friends ever since. First time I've actually met him in real life, so that was pretty cool. He picked me up with another friend of ours. We got something to eat. Because it was a long plane flight, and we went right to the convention center to get our badges. They actually got theirs much more quickly than I thought. There really wasn't a wait for them. Like I was telling them in the car, I assume most people get theirs early in the morning, and that's why there's a big line. Because most people are already there on Thursday and not arriving on Thursday, so my logic was, well, they're probably going to go in the morning to get it, so then they can do whatever they want with the rest of their day. So we got in. I got mine right away because I was a member of the press. Of course, I'm recording, so the dog is going to start fucking barking. Sorry about that. I got mine right away. They got theirs after 10 minutes. It really wasn't long, then we kind of left. The Blizzard store got closed. Otherwise, we would have been staying there because I know Howie wanted to buy a bunch of stuff. So, yeah, there's that. So Thursday night, we kind of just hung out in our hotel room. We had some drinks. We played some board games. We played a really cool one that was kind of like Arkham Horror, if any of you guys played that, either the physical copy or the digital copy on tabletop. It was basically Arkham Horror, but it utilized a tablet or a mobile device, and I brought my tablet with me, so we used that. That was real fun. Friday was the opening ceremony. We got there a little bit later than a lot of other people. I think we got in line at about 8:30. And we were way far back. We were past the fountains. We were almost by the street. We still got pretty good seats for the opening ceremony. We weren't too close up front, but we were decently far back in the main hall. I could have went up to the front with the press pass, but I really didn't want to. I wanted to hang out with my friends and react to the opening ceremony. And damn, what an opening ceremony. I have to say, even if I wouldn't have been there in person, this was probably the best opening ceremony that BlizzCon's ever had. I was actually interested in every single thing that they showed off, and people who know me might find that surprising because I hate Hearthstone and I'm very ambivalent toward Overwatch, and both of those franchises, not even talking about Heroes and WoW, of course, Both of those franchises, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm kind of interested in that. So, I guess we could just go right down the list. Diablo 3 is a dead franchise, so that's not even, it wasn't even there. For Hearthstone, we got a new expansion announcement. Kobolds and Catacombs. I don't really care about any of the actual PvP features because I still contend that that game is basically pay to win. You have to drop $200 or spend hundreds of hours grinding out gold just to get the cards to make the proper meta decks, which Howie's been doing now, and I feel bad for him. But it's a fate of his own making because they keep trying to tell him to not play that game. But he does. So, sorry, Howie. That's your fault. But the dungeon run, I think, is a pretty cool idea. I didn't get to play it at Blizzcon because I was busy playing a lot of the Warcraft stuff, which I'll get to in a second. But I really wanted to try it out. But the dungeon run is free. It's a single-player PvE experience. It's a very randomized, like, dungeon run. You have, like, custom cards for just this mode. And I actually was very interested in what this is going to be. And I'll probably actually play it, which is cool, because I'm someone who was like, fuck Hearthstone, I'm done, I'm not playing it, I don't like it. I don't like the mentality that is fostered by the TCG aspect and the way Blizzard's going about it. I don't want to play it, I don't want anything to do with it. But this actually is getting me kind of interested, so I'm going to check it out. And then for Overwatch, they had their really good Reinhardt origin story, Honor and Glory, which made me tear up a little bit, although not as much as I would have thought. I guess I don't care that much about Overwatch's story anymore, because they don't seem to be doing anything with it that intrigues me from a coherent standpoint. Maybe if they were doing like a animated show, actually, or something, rather than just like arbitrary comics here and there, I would care more about it, but I don't. But I guess that was cool. We got to see the first look at the new support hero, Moira, who looks, whoosh, she looks so cool. I haven't played Overwatch in months, but I kind of want to try her out. Just because she's like evil David Bowie, basically, with like crazy like magic / mana tech that can like, she like Kamehameha blasts people for her ultimate. It's pretty damn cool, and I want to try her out. But other than that, StarCraft 2 going free to play. Well, at least Wings of Liberty, free to play. Maybe I'll finally get some of my friends who I keep telling to play that game to now check it out. Because everything, if you don't know, everything in StarCraft 2 is now free, except for here, Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void campaigns. But everything else is free. The arcade, the PvP modes, Wings of Liberty's campaign is given to you for free. The co-op commanders, you can play all of them to level 5, after which I think we're at this point now where half of them you have to buy now. But you they give you like 5 initial ones for free no matter how long. I think it's like Raynor, Zagara, Kerrigan, Artanis, Vorazun, I think are the 5 you get for free. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones. I used to play that a lot. I haven't played it in a long time. But I want to get back into it because they just announced another new co-op commander. A pair of them, Mirahan and Matt Horner. I don't actually know how they work together because that was another thing I didn't get to play. But I'm going to definitely be trying them out because you get to play all of the co-op commanders for free up to level 5. So I'll get to play the ones that I hadn't played because I didn't buy them. I don't remember even who they are. But I think I stopped at Abathur was the last co-op commander that I bought. Because then I just kind of stopped playing it. But then we get to Heroes of the Storm, the second franchise that I care the most about that's actually there. We got Alexstrasza and Hanzo. I don't really care about Hanzo. He looks cool, I guess. Alexstrasza looks fucking dope. I'm so excited to play her. I didn't get to play her because I was busy doing Warcraft stuff, but I really wanted to try her out, and I'm probably just going to be day one buying her with gold because I have it saved up. Her kit looks cool. I mean, her model looks awesome. I love her abilities. Her trait where she turns into a dragon. That was a big thing. They were like, we want to bring all these dragons into the game, but we don't know how we want to make them actually have a dragon form. Because right now we have Chromie, but she never actually turns into a dragon, which is kind of a bummer. But it kind of works for her, I guess, because she's always in her gnome form. But Alexstrasza is split half and half humanoid and dragon form almost all the time you see her. So I'm glad they got her dragon form in there. It looks super satisfying. Her healing abilities look really cool. I love the game of her giving her own health to heal people. And then her ultimate is connects you with another player, and whoever has the lower percentage of health, the other person is brought up to that. So if you're like healing a Stitches and the team is focusing hard on you and you're at like 10% and Stitches is at like 100 or 95, you pop your ultimate and you go all the way up. You basically full heal because you go up to that percentage. You go up to 95 or 100. That is so cool, and her level 20 talents are even cooler. There's one where it makes that ultimate like rebalance like 3 times before it actually goes off. So I'm just imagining like a team fight where you're healing like Stitches or Arthas or Leoric, and Leoric's getting beaten down, and then he gets healed up, so the team tries to focus on you and kill you, but then it pops again and you get healed up, and then they focus back on the tank, and then he gets healed up again. Oh, the mechanics of her talents are so cool that I cannot wait to play Alexstrasza. And then finally, I love that all of her skins are basically one of each of the dragon aspects. There's a blue one, there's a green one, there's a bronze one, and there's a black one, which is pretty dope. I wish the dragon model looked a little different for each of them because they're kind of just like color tinted, but that's a real minor complaint. So anyway, let's get to the big one, World of Warcraft. First, Classic WoW. I don't care about Classic WoW. I've always maintained that the game now is a quadrillion% better than Vanilla WoW ever was. I played in Vanilla WoW, so all of you people who are waxing nostalgic for Vanilla WoW who never played it, enjoy your rude awakening, because Vanilla WoW is a nightmare. I honestly hope Blizzard keeps all of the tedious shit in there instead of like revitalizing, because they're going through a phase right now where they're like, we don't know what to change and what not to change, and we want your feedback. And I really hope all of the ardent fanboys of Vanilla and Classic make them not change anything, because I want all of you who gave me so much shit in my Nostalrius video, or Nostralius, however you pronounce it, all you people who gave me shit in that video, I want you to play Vanilla WoW the way I played Vanilla WoW, with all the bugs, with all the unbalance, with all of the nonsense with quests, with all of the stupid ways specs were designed, with all the ways that certain classes had to do tons of extra work to actually play right, like Warlocks and Hunters. And I just want you guys to have the true Vanilla terrible experience that it was. Like I've always said, at the time, Vanilla was great. It was revolutionary for the time. Unfortunately, that time was 13 years ago, where the game is now much better than it was. So, enjoy your Classic WoW. I might check it out if I don't have to pay for it. If I have to pay extra for it, I'm not going to get it, because I don't want to, basically. So, I think it's kind of a pipe dream, though, all the people who are like, Classic WoW is going to destroy Battle for Azeroth's player base. You are fucking delusional, guys. So anyway, let's get to the big expansion announcement. Battle for Azeroth. I think this is the first expansion since Mists of Pandaria that I'm super actually truly hyped for. Warlords, I was kind of bummed from the outset. Legion, I was intrigued, and then during development, I was let down with what I thought were a bunch of problems I saw arising toward the end game, which just happened to so be the same things that WoD had for problems, and people shit on me both times for bringing it up. So, thanks everyone for agreeing with me now. I wish you would have believed me back then. So hopefully now, if Battle for Azeroth has some problems, maybe I'll have a little credibility and people will listen to me, because I'm actually super duper fucking hyped for this expansion. I'm down for the storyline. I'm down for with the Legion being destroyed, now we're going back to fighting with ourselves again, because when the Horde and Alliance only ever come together temporarily to stop an apocalypse scenario. You know, Deathwing, an army from another universe, Legion. Not even, Mists of Pandaria wasn't even that. Even with Garrosh, the factions were still kind of butting heads at the very end. So I'm glad we're kind of fucking murdering each other again. I'm so stoked for that. Jaina is back with Kulturas. Finally! Jaina's new model looks so damn sweet. I love that they're making her looking a little bit older, because she's pushing 40 now, you guys. She should look a little bit older. I love her new getup. Very much Admiral, Sorcerer Queen themed. I love how she looks. I think it's interesting that her mom, that they kind of just invented, which I'm fine with, has been leading Cult Taras since Jaina basically helped kill her dad. I'm really curious their interactions. I do think it's pretty clear that her mom's going to die and Jaina's going to become leader of Cult Taras. I'll actually be surprised if that doesn't happen, but that's what I'm expecting. Zandalar, sure. I would not have put money on Zandalar and the Zandalari actually joining the Horde. I would have thought their entire faction would have been bad. And now having played some of... So, at BlizzCon, there were a bunch of booths to play all the games, but the press people had, like, their own small room where they could play all the games, and basically you never had to wait for those. I think I had to wait for a while for 5 minutes once for one person who was leaving to stop playing, but they had an entire subzone of Zandalar, an entire subzone of Cult Taras. They had a dungeon for the Horde and a dungeon for the Alliance. I did all of those except for the Alliance dungeon, and I watched the Alliance dungeon be played. So I basically devoured all the content that was available at BlizzCon. I will say, unfortunately, the Cult Taras area that I did was kind of boring. I'm not going to judge the whole zone, the whole continent as a whole based on that. I wasn't really enthralled in what was going on. Essentially, I kind of showed up to a town. It was Drustvar, I believe, is what the one I was playing in. And it was like, there's witches, and these witches are fucking everyone up, and they're, like, cursing people. And I was like, okay, I guess. And so I just kind of went around fighting witches and, like, their little minions that kind of were just basically, like, skeletons, but they had new models. But they were, like, wood-themed. They were kind of like wood treants instead of, like, actual skeletons, and they were, like, giant treant behemoths, which looked kind of cool, but... Overall, the story didn't seem to really be going anywhere in that particular area of the subzone, and I did the entire thing. And the end, I was finally interested at the end, because there's a quest chain at the very end of that story where one of the more politically connected people of the area was accused of being a witch, and you had to basically go gather a bunch of evidence. You had to basically talk to the townsfolk, and you were like, yo, what do we have to do to prove that this lady's not a witch? And they were like, hey, one guy said do this, one guy said do that, another guy said do that. I think the actual things were, one of them said that witches' blood isn't tempting to mosquitoes, so I had to go get a bunch of mosquitoes and then, like, sting the lady with them. And she was like, yeah, do it, please, save me. She was like a, I believe she was a daughter of one of the houses of Cult Taras, because that was kind of their storyline. Like, you have to rally all the houses of Cult Taras, which is, like, basically what I said I wanted that to be in my prediction video. So I kind of nailed that one. And I even said one of them is going to be evil and kind of working for N'Zoth. And one of the factions looks super evil in Cult Taras. It's like the water priest, and his staff is like a fucking N'Zoth staff. It's got, like, a head with, like, tentacles coming off it. I saw that immediately, and I was like, that guy is clearly evil. We're going to have to kill him. So I predicted, like, the entire Cult Taras story, I think, at this point. So got one for me there. But anyway, so the lady, I think, was, like, the daughter of one of the leaders, and she was like, well, I could just use my father's army and just kill all these people, but I don't want to kill my own people, so I'll go through these dumb trials to prove I'm not a witch, because I'm not a witch. I think it would have been a cool plot twist if she was, but she wasn't. So she says, go get these mosquitoes, and you let her bite her, and she's like, ah, shit, and she's getting bit by up. And some of the civilians are then like, oh, she's not a witch, I guess. Another one of the people were like, oh, this bog's... Oh, it was like, oh, witches, they have no stomach because they do such evil things, so they can never, like, throw up. And so then the lady was like, go get all this poison, and I'll eat it, and then throw it up. And she does that. And then, I think there's another one where it's like, witches can't be burned, and then you, like, go get some, like, matches, and she, like, lights her arm hair on fire or something, and she, like, starts burning, and she's like, ah, shit! And then you save her. And then the storyline kind of ends, you find out that the actual leader of the town has been kidnapped by the leader of these witches. The Witch Mother, I think is what she's called, and we never actually see her. And it kind of ends with the girl who you saved from being killed by the townsfolk, the politician, with her saying, like, I know what we have to do! Yeah! And then it says, like, thanks for playing at BlizzCon. And I was like, I wanted to do something that was fun! The only cool quest I did for the Alliance was at the, like, literally the second to last quest was you took control of one of those big treant guys and you murdered a bunch of people. And that was pretty cool. Coincidentally, the Horde one was way more interesting. You were playing in Zuldazar, I believe is the area that you were at. It was, like, the undead part, Bwansamdi was a big character that came back from... They were taken to the Echo Isles. He's basically the lower of the dead. You find out that there's this crazy new blood god named Gahun who is, like, corrupting other Loa. And you see, like, these blood trolls are, like, attacking the Zandalari. And people never found this out, but if you dig into, like, the files a little bit, and I was doing it as I was playing the dungeon, the final boss of the Horde dungeon is, like, this blood troll leader, and you find out that she was sent there to protect the temple on the orders of the Prophet Zul. Because the whole time they're talking about, like, Rastakhan, King Rastakhan and his daughter, and, like, Gahun, this blood god, and I'm like, where's Zul? Where's Zul? This is clearly, like, a Zul kind of storyline. Where is he? And you find out at the very end, well, you don't really get told, but you look, if you read the dungeon journal, that the leader of the blood trolls in that little area was sent to protect this temple by Zul. So I think it's pretty clear that Prophet Zul is working with the blood trolls who are serving this god called Gahun. I really want Gahun to be Hakkar, because goddamn, they already established Hakkar as a blood god. So what the fuck, yo? Make him the blood god. Don't make him someone new. Make it Hakkar. He got away in Cataclysm. I'm going to kill my dog after this recording is done, by the way. I just want to let you know I'm going to jail because I murdered an animal. But I want it to be Hakkar because Hakkar escapes. He's a blood god. The aesthetics of, like, trolls and blood sacrifices, that's Hakkar. And it seems like it's not going to be Hakkar based on some of the dev interviews. So that's kind of what I am really disappointed about. But other than that, Zandalar was cool. You got to see Bwansamdi. You got to see those snake men with their snake heads doing all that stuff. So that was pretty interesting. Alright, sorry for that cut there. I had to go murder the dog. At least he's done now. So yeah. Zandalar, Zuldazar, cool. What else can we talk about? The war campaign. I really, really want this to be almost exclusively focused in Azeroth. And I know it's not, which makes me sad. Because I want to see these conflicts in the zones that they keep bringing up through, like, war fronts, and, you know, Teldrassil's getting burned down, and the Alliance is taking Undercity, even though Undercity is destroyed, and or at the Highlands is becoming a new battleground with Stratholme, a new battleground between the Horde and Alliance, not an actual battleground. Between the Horde and the Alliance, and hopefully there's going to be, like, Ashenvale stuff because of the Night Elves trying to hold on to their lands. I just wanted this to be, like, all old school stuff so we can see, like, what are the Alliance doing in Southern Barrens? Did they keep pushing forward? Are they going to push forward now? Are they reinforcing their positions? I want to see all the old zone conflicts explode. Swamp of Sorrows basically ended with the Alliance overwhelmingly winning. The only real place they won in Cataclysm was Swamp of Sorrows. And even then, they, like, don't even destroy Stonard because they're like, we're too good for that. Fuck that. Burn that shit to the ground, guys. What are you doing? I want to see that come back up. I want to see all the old conflicts and zones coming back. So that's really what I'm really interested in that. But I know the war campaign's taking you to the other side's faction, so I'm curious if that's just going to be like world quests or like actual storylines. Are we going to have like flight paths actually in the other faction's zone? I hope so. I hope it kind of like phases where like then both of the continents become contested is my wish. But I guess we'll have to see. Zone scaling in the old world. Great. The only thing that I think they should have done that they didn't, and I know it's because it was too recent, is they had, so all the starting zones are 1 to 10, and then all of the 1 through 60 zones are, well, all of the Azeroth zones are 20 to 60. And then you have, Burning Crusade and Wrath are 60 to 80. And then I wanted, I don't know if this is confirmed or not. I wanted to see if Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria were 90 to 100. Or 80 to 90. Yeah, 80 to 90, right? Well, whatever. You know what I mean. Cataclysm to Mists of Pandaria would be 80 to 90, so you can do either of those if you want. And then what I really would like would then have Warlords and Legion be 100 to 120. Like, I really want that to be a thing. And I know that that specifically is not the case. I'm not sure about Mists and Cataclysm. Because I feel like just go out with the whole system. If you're going to do it all, just do it all. I know you want people to go play Legion, but Legion's over with when this comes out. Well, this specific thing will be out before Battle for Azeroth. But still, you know, let people do that if they want. Who cares? The expansions, but everyone's played the expansion. It's going to play the expansion. So I don't know. That's really, I'm really fascinated with that new system. Let's see, what else are we talking about? Island expeditions. I'm kind of curious how long that's going to actually work as like a mechanic before it gets stale and people figure out all the different permutations, like they did with Mythic Plus, where they were like, there's a zillion billion combinations, and now at this point everyone really knows exactly what to expect through add-ons and just having mathed it out in their brains and on paper and online. Everyone kind of has figured it all out what to do. Warfronts. This, I guess, Warfronts, in my opinion, if the war campaign is going to be on the other side's continent, if it's going to be on Zandalar and Kul Tiras, Warfronts, all of them need to be on Azeroth, on the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. We already have confirmation that, you know, the Arathi Highlands is going to have one, with us trying to retake, my brain farted, Stromgarde. That's going to be one. Ashenvale for sure needs to be one. I think the Southern Barrens for sure needs to be one. The Southern Barrens in Cataclysm was basically this idea. Like, the factions are just beating the shit out of each other in that zone. I love that zone in Cataclysm. What else? So we got Arathi Highlands is confirmed. I think we need Ashenvale. We need Southern Barrens. Definitely. I think we need, for sure, Hillsbrad Foothills needs to be one. Because the Alliance needs to retake South Shore and cleanse it again. Because fuck Sylvanas. Cleanse South Shore. Make that an Alliance encampment once again as a big fuck you to Sylvanas. We beat you out of Undercity, and we're taking back what's it called? South Shore. I have all these thoughts running in my brain. We beat your ass in the Undercity, now we're taking back Hillsbrad. Get the gnomes to do something and cleanse all this plague out of the way. It's the one thing they know how to do. Get them out and help. So I think those are 4. Where else could we do? Silithus, I guess, could be one based on, you know, what happens at the end of Antorus. But that's going to be like a battleground. But I still think that could be a warfront. So that's 5. I think 6 is a good amount. So let's pick one other zone that they could do it in. I guess Stonetown Mountains could be, but that's kind of too close to Ashenvale. Then again, Hillsbrad's really close to Arathi Highlands, but I think story-wise, Hillsbrad and the Arathi Highlands both need to be a thing, because Hillsbrad is close to Gilneas. If not, just make it Gilneas, like the border. Either that or just all of Hillsbrad. So what's one final one we could do? I guess we could do... So we had 2, I proposed 3 in Eastern Kingdoms and 2 in Kalimdor. Ashenvale and Southern Barrens. I guess we could do 1 more in Kalimdor. What could we do? Faralos, maybe? With the Night Elves kind of still had a big presence in Faralos, and maybe do that. That could be an interesting thing. We could have some dragon involvement at some point. Maybe some remnants of the Green Dragon flight that are still trucking around somewhere could be involved in that. But I really like that idea. I still think all of those need to be on Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. I don't think any of those should be in the new zones, although they probably will be. Let's be honest. What else can we talk about? Azurite. I'm glad that the artifact system is going to a necklace, because I really hate... I've come to the realization at the end of Legion that I hate the fact that I have changed my weapon maybe 3 times. And I know you can transmog it, but it's not the same. It's still the same weapon, it just looks different. I want to change a weapon with new stats. I want to upgrade my weapon and feel like it's a major upgrade. Going from, like, eye level 910 to 915 relics doesn't feel like I upgraded my weapon. It feels like, oh, I got 16 new intellect points. Woo! I, like, want a big upgrade. I miss that feeling. I miss being like, man, I got, like, a Highmaul staff, and I finally upgraded it to, like, a mythic Blackrock Foundry staff, and I feel more powerful. I want that feeling to come back. So, tying it to the necklace, I think is cool. I think it's fine. Azurite armor, right now, so far, I think is a great idea. We'll have to see how it's implemented, because I thought the artifact system was a great idea until they implemented it and made it a gigantic expansion grind. But having the grind be focused just on the necklace, I think is fine, because from what it sounds like, it's not going to be super hard to unlock all of the rings on your Azurite armor. And I believe it's just the helm, shoulders, chests, right? Helm, shoulders, chest, maybe pants. Those are the only Azurite armor you have, I think. Maybe some other ones, but that's cool. Allied races. Perfect. We all assumed that sub-races were coming, and this is how they're doing it. Alliance gets Void Elves, which is cool. Fuck everyone who thought Illyria was going to be neutral. I actually thought that was true, so fuck myself as well. Blizzard was like, we got you guys. Not only are Tyrallion and Illyria rejoining the Alliance and not being neutral, which is thank you, but Tyrallion's bringing the Army of the Light, like the entire Army of the Light that doesn't like stay on Argus or do whatever else. They're joining the Alliance. The Lightforged Draenei are a subrace of the Alliance. That's all you need to say about which faction's good and which faction's evil. We got the Army of the Light on the Alliance. We got the Void Elves with Illyria. The Void Elves, I'm really curious because it was stated that they're not High Elves that like were delving into the Void. They were Blood Elves. They were Blood Elves that were delving into the Void, and either Lorthamar kicked them out, which is his wont to do, and he's done before in the story. He kicked out some Blood Elves who refused to siphon off demon energies back before the Sunwell was reignited. He did that before in his own canon. So I'm curious to see what happens. Either I want to see if Lorthamar kicks them out first, or if they begin delving into Void, Illyria saves him, and then Illyria's like, yo, Blood Elves, why don't we all just join the Alliance? And Lorthamar says no. I want to know why Lorthamar would say no to that, because I feel like, especially at this point, there's no reason for the Blood Elves to be in the Horde. There's, like, literally none. The only thing that they could possibly even bring up that I think would be legitimate is if Lorthamar was like, look, Jaina's involved with you guys again, and Jaina fucked up so bad at the Purge of Dalaran, we're never going to join you. I would accept that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I have to see how they do it. Dark Iron Dwarves, sure. I thought they already were completely reincorporated into the Alliance, but I guess not. Maybe we'll go to Black Rock Mountain and like kick the ass of whatever ones are still like rebels and bring them all in. I think their armor looks super cool. If I can make like a Dark Iron caster with like the plate shoulder look, that looks sweet as hell on a caster, I think. Horde, High Mountain Tauren, kind of boring. Zandalari Trolls are cool. I just don't personally care about them, but the Nightborn, whew, that is the one you guys got that I'm super, super jealous about. We all knew it was going to happen. We all saw Silgrin talking to Lady Liadrin in Argus, but damn, their, what are they calling it? Their ancestral armor or whatever looks so cool. I am so jealous. Luckily, at this point, I have 2 Horde at level 110 now, so, you know, I'm no longer in that zone where I can't pick a faction now, because I've been playing so much Legion because of the hype of BlizzCon that I have multiple max level characters now because I have no life. So, I think it's really cool that, something I didn't even see, new spell effects for Warlocks are on the way. I can't tell you guys how bad Chaos Boat looks and has always looked. And that really needs to be upgraded super bad. If you play a Warlock, switch to Destruction real quick, cast a Chaos Bolt, and take a screenshot when it's still like in your like range of view, because I know it goes by fast, but you can still see it. Take a screenshot and look at what Chaos Bolt actually looks like, because damn, it looks like garbage. So I'm super pumped for that. The upstanding orcs, they can now be toggled, which is cool for everyone that always cared about that. New druid forms for allied races, I think, is really a great idea. I don't really know. Alliance gets Void Elves, Lightforged Draenei, and Dark Iron Dwarves. I don't think any of them are going to actually be druids, so I would have to see what they're going to do for that to even give them a druid thing. But I know for a fact that the Zandalari Troll druid form, they have, I believe, travel form is a raptor, which is pretty nifty. I would love it if their bear form was like a dire horn. That would be really cool. Cat form could be like, I don't know, one of those new, like, they're not really basilisks, but they're kind of like, they have like 8 legs and they kind of like move really weirdly. I encountered them in the new Horde zone. I think that would be cool for them. For flying, I think it would have to be like a different looking dire bat, or whatever those things are called. There's a part in the Horde zone where you fight Sharik, the Bat Loa, and like all her children. I think they could be one of those, basically. Yeah, so I'm looking at a list of more things we could talk about. Stat Squish, great. I don't care either way, so cool. Titan Forging will not be on Azurite armor, which is a good idea. More character customization coming up in the expansion. Not everything's going to be at launch. Worgen, I play a Worgen. Originally was a human warlock, and I switched to a Worgen. Worgen and goblins are going to be getting updates, just not an 8.0, which is great. I think Worgen really need an update real bad, especially female Worgen. Void Elves will switch into a form in combat. They'll have a more normal form when they're not in combat, kind of similar to like Shadow Priests and Worgen, which is the cool idea. Your bag will be upgraded if you have an authenticator. That's great. The Legion Legendary system is gone. Thank God. Because holy shit, I hate that system. Players are getting 6 new slots per realm. I assume they're going to add more when they add more allied races. What else? Oh, complete tangent. I love that they finally had a creative dev say, Jaina's not a villain, she's a flawed character, and then went through and explained how it was the Horde that really fucked her up real bad. You had Garrosh fucking nuke your homeland and destroy it all. She's still after that in Mists of Pandaria. People who play the Alliance, people who like hate Jaina, did you play Mists of Pandaria for the Alliance? Go back and play 5.1. Even after Theramore is destroyed in 5.1 at the beginning of the Alliance storyline, she still defends the Blood Elves and says, we should be neutral. And then they fuck her over again. So it's not that Jaina's crazy. It's that the Horde are fucking evil. Or, at the very at best, they excuse a lot of evil shit that people do that are under their banner. That's the best you could say for the Horde at this point. Especially with, we could talk about now Teldrassil burning. We have seen some from interviews that Teldrassil gets burned first, and then the attack on the Undercity happens second. I tweeted this out on my Twitter a while ago, if you want to really go look. But yeah, so Teldrassil burns first. They don't say it specifically that it's Sylvanas and the Horde, so there could be some room for like some subterfuge, maybe Twilight's Hammer, or someone does something and frames them, but whatever. But it seems like the Horde, once again, are the aggressors. Teldrassil is burned down by the Horde, and then the Alliance attacks and destroys and takes over Undercity. They can't hold Undercity because it's kind of like a ruin at this point. A ruin within a ruin. They basically destroy it so much that no one really wants to inhabit it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that's interesting. I don't really care that Teldrassil is getting destroyed. As long as the Horde lost something too, I'd be happy. If it was just like, Sylvanas marched on and destroyed Teldrassil, and then the game begins, and we're in Kul Tiras, I'd be like, the fuck, again, Blizzard? But it's not what happens, so, cool. What else can we talk about? Let's see. Looking on my list. Time Walking is going to be expanded. Time Walking Ulduar is coming in 7.3.5, whatever, cool. I think that's about it for now. I have like a zillion million theories floating around in my head. Oh, Azshara? The only thing that I was like the entire time they were announcing this expansion, I was like 10 out of 10, 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 and then they were like, Azshara is going to be a raid boss. And I was like, no. Azshara deserves to be an expansion boss. So that's kind of like brought me down a little bit to like 9.5 out of 10. So if they make Azshara like the existential threat, existential threat to the Horde and the Alliance throughout 8.0 and like 8.1 and then 8.2, she's like the raid boss. I don't know. They confirmed that the first raid is Uldir, which is not Azshara. But then they said Azshara is part of the story. So I don't know if she's going to be in the first raid tier or the second raid tier. I'm assuming N'Zoth is the final raid. Because I didn't tell anybody this, but I was playing the Horde campaign, the Horde part. There was a part where I was just like fighting mobs, and then all of a sudden I was getting like whispered by, it said like an unknown, oh wait, was it Alliance or Horde? I forget. I think it was Horde, but I was getting like messages from like an unknown whisper, and it was whispering like old god stuff to me, basically. Like, you don't know who to trust, your allies will betray you, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I like asked the person next to me, and they were like, I don't know, I never saw that. So I don't know what's going on with that, but well, I have to see. I'm assuming the existential threat overall is going to be old gods and N'Zoth and Void Lords and all that craziness, but if they make Azshara like the existential threat in like 8.0 and 8.1, and she's a raid boss in 8.2, if they make her show up a lot and like is like a cocky villain like she should be, then okay, I'm more okay with it then. But if they're just like 8.2, it's Nazjatar and Azshara, I'd be like, what the fuck? She deserves more than that. So Great. Overall, I think everything is fantastic. Rathion's basically siding with the Alliance. I don't know if any of you guys heard about this, but there is a new... the Horde and the Alliance get basically Orgrimmar and Stormwind embassies in their own respective factions. I'm not sure where the Alliance one is, but the Horde one is where the Goblin Slums used to be, and they have all their leaders there. The Alliance has all their leaders there, and Rathion. So, Rathion's not with the Horde, standing there. He's with the Alliance forces. He's basically... He's not, like, in their little circle as they're all talking. He's in the building. He's kind of, like, off a little bit to his side. So, I think... It's possible Rathion's using Anduin for his own purposes, but I think if he is, it's not for a negative reason, because Anduin's like the only character that Rathion seems to actually give a shit about, because every time they interact, they're like really good friends, and especially in war crimes, when Rathion like enacts his plan to free Garrosh, he has to knock out Anduin because Anduin kind of stumbles onto the scene, and Rathion feels bad about it, and he knocks out Anduin and like carefully places him on the ground so he doesn't get hurt. That was the first time where I was like, they're totally gay for each other, guys. Come on, it's obvious. And then before that, they have like a talk on the beaches, they're like walking about how they're friends, and I was like, these guys are totally fucking gay for each other, and I'm like, I'm okay with it. So, I don't know. I think it's really intriguing. Anduin... We could talk about the cinematic. I cried the first time I saw it. I was crying sitting there in Blizzcon. I loved Anduin's moments. Even Sylvanas was cool. I mean, when you can get me to be like, damn, Sylvanas, you're pretty badass. When she goes Banshee form and kills all those soldiers, I was like, that was pretty good. It was pretty good, Sylvanas. I don't know why you had never done this before, but sure, pull out something now. Anduin, like, healing everyone in his entire army. I was like, but yeah, so that cinematic was dope as hell. I've seen it probably 30 times since then, and I tear up every single time Anduin heals everybody and says for the Alliance. There's a video floating around from the BlizzCon floor, from someone who was there as well, recording the crowd reaction, and in that moment you can hear somebody close to that guy scream for the Alliance as loud as they can. I'm pretty sure that's me, because that was pretty close to where we were, and I was sitting all with Horde people. And I just, like, screamed that as loud as I could when Anduin said it, because it was great. And Blizzard has thus far been doing a fantastic job with this expansion, making me love the Alliance again. So, keep it up, Blizzard. Don't let me down, because so far you're doing great. And that's really about it. I don't think there's anything I else want to talk about. There's a lot of theories I have rolling around in my brain about what's going on with Teldrassil. I think we need still more information first. I think a lot of the theories will be solidified when Christy Golden's book comes out. Which, interestingly enough, I tweeted that video from the first night when we got the prologue where it said Sylvanas wants to attack Stormwind. Stormwind's not destroyed, so she fails. Or something else happens and she's stopped, and she has to stop. So maybe she's stopped and then goes to Teldrassil or something. But I'm curious, because the book clearly happens before Battle for Azeroth. Sylvanas seems to be focused on trying to go attack Stormwind for some reason. And basically, once we get that book, we'll know a lot more about what's going on. Because there's a really intriguing new idea brought up in that prologue called the Desolate Council, which are basically other Forsaken who, like, have just, like, normal Forsaken who, like, created, like, a council to just discuss Forsaken issues, because Sylvanas is, like, so just laser focused on what she thinks is right and what should happen that she's not, like, really listening to anybody else. And the problem with Sylvanas from an in-character and an out-character perspective is she's surrounded by sycophants. That's all of the people around her are just like, I love you, Sylvanas, you're doing everything right. All the fanboys are like, I love you, Sylvanas, she's doing everything right. And I just wanted something in the story to be like, no, Sylvanas is fucking crazy, guys. And the Desolate Council, from the way they're described, there are Forsaken who are like, Sylvanas is going way too far with what she's doing, and maybe some of us just want to live our lives and die. And that's finally, I wanted some more interesting, differing viewpoints in the Forsaken, and we're finally, hopefully, getting that. So, that's what I want. And that's what I really want out of the Forsaken faction, because for as much shit as I get for hating on Sylvanas, I used to love Sylvanas and the Forsaken, guys. I loved them from Frozen Throne up to Wrath of the Lich King, which is when Sylvanas should have died, and they should have had somebody else become the leader, give them a storyline in, like, Wrath, build them up, and make them become the leader. But because they didn't, then they had Sylvanas continue on and become the garbage fire character that she's become now, where she doesn't have any consequences for anything she does. She operates by the rule of cool, where she just does things that seem badass so people can be like, that's Sylvanas, she's badass. She has the most insane plot armor in the entire franchise. And it's just, I need her to lose and die. So I'm waiting for that to happen. But at this point, I'm convinced Sylvanas will never die, because she has all the fanboys, because nobody wants to, like, think critically about that character and how she has basically gotten away with everything she wants and never suffers for it. So, even when she loses the lantern from Helya, she really doesn't lose, like, anything. I mean, we're told, like, oh, she lost the ability to get new Valkyr, but she's still acting exactly the same. Like, her demeanor hasn't changed, her positions haven't changed, her actions haven't changed, her mentality hasn't changed. So it's kind of like, what then? Who cares then? Like, and the difference is, like, with Anduin. Anduin was built up from a nothing character. Christy Golden saved Anduin, because Blizzard didn't want to do anything with him. And then Christy Golden came when Cataclysm was about to happen and said, like, look, I want to make this character a character. And now we have this incredible arc with Anduin where he's learning from his father, and he's not a warrior. He's more of he's a healer. He's a healer leader. He wants to be a priest, and his dad's trying to work through how to deal with that, and his dad's holding on to Anduin too tightly because that's the only connection he has left with his dead wife, and it's his son, and that's his motivation, and Anduin's just trying to be his own person, with Varian just, like, lording over him, trying to protect him, to the point where Mr. Pandaria, he runs off and escapes on his own and does all his own like, agenda. He stands up to Garrosh and almost dies for it, you know, and then he becomes the king after his father dies and doesn't know how to deal with it and has to, like, go through the grieving process, and then finally, like, comes to terms with his dad's death and how to be a leader. And then we see him in battle for Azeroth leading the Alliance forces. He's fighting with Charlemagne. He kills a couple of orcs, but he's not a melee fighter. So he, like, heals his entire army, and it's just, that is a character arc. Anduin is, like, the best character arc that Warcraft has. And it's just, comparing that character arc to Sylvanas, who, after Wrath, has been just, like, a flat line of, like, look how cool she is, and look what she does, and she just always wins, and nothing ever changes for her because she's a badass. It's like, that's fucking boring. Not only is that bad storytelling, but it's boring. So it's just, I want more Forsaken stuff. I just want an interesting storyline with Sylvanas. I don't want to see Sylvanas doing something potentially evil, the Alliance being mad, and then nothing changing again. Because that's happened 4 times already. So, that's it. So, I didn't mean for that little rant to be about Sylvanas at the end, but that's my feelings about Sylvanas, because I feel like I'm not allowed to dislike her without people just turning me off, like, tuning me out and not even listening why. Like, do you guys not agree? Like, even if you love Sylvanas, do you not agree she's been, like, flatlined for, like, the last 5 years and hasn't, like, progressed as a character? Is that not a problem to you? Don't you want, like, interesting character progression in an RPG? Like, I don't care that it's Sylvanas because she's Horde. It's because she's boring. She's a boring character, and we contrast that with the leader of the faction that I care about, Anduin, who has had, like, the best arc in the franchise. I'm like, damn, they can do it right and they can do it wrong. They need Christy Golden to fix Sylvanas is what they need. So hopefully she does that with their new book. But that was it. I wanted to tell you guys at the very end that my final day, oh my god, when I wanted to go home, it was a nightmare. I don't want to get into so much of it because this video is already like an hour long. But I showed up at the airport. I got dropped off like 2 hours too early. I got dropped off at 2:30 in the morning. The TSA wasn't even open for me to get through to get to my gate yet. My flight was supposed to come in at 7 a.m. We were supposed to leave then. And it got canceled at the last minute because they said there was fog in Chicago. And Southwest told me and everyone else who was there that there was no flights going out to Chicago all day long. Sure enough, 2 hours later, they're sending off flights to Chicago. They didn't even seem to be like making an effort to try and get us who got canceled onto one of those flights. So I was fighting with Southwest for like hours and hours and hours. And at first, the best I could get was Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is like 2 hours from where I live. And I couldn't get anyone who wanted to come pick me up from that far away because I wouldn't be leaving until 7 at night and arrive at 1 in the morning the next day. But finally, I found a nice attendant who decided to actually look for flights for me, and I got one to Chicago. I was like the last person on the flight. Apparently someone canceled, and then I got their seats, and I got home at, I think it was like 10 o'clock at night. So I was at the airport for a good 18 hours, which was a nightmare. And I don't know how anyone else does it, but I can't sleep at the airport. So I was up from like 2 a.m. to like 10 p.m. The next, like from like 10 p.m. So what is that, 20 hours? And it was a nightmare, and it kind of ruined the end of my experience of going there. But now that I'm through it and I'm past it, I'm kind of just like blocking out that ever even happened. And I'm kind of like, my brain kind of like automatically like amnesia'd that away from me, because the next day I woke up on the Monday and I was like, I don't know where I am, who I am, or what's even going on, and my alarm is going off, and what's happening. And it took me like a minute to realize, oh, I'm me at my house, and I have to get up for work. I was so tired and so traumatized by the airport experience that my brain was like, I got you, boo. We're just going to forget all that happened. So, I don't know. I loved it overall. It was a great experience. I'm super, super hyped for Battle for Azeroth. And I just want to say once again to everyone, thank you. And I'm sure we'll have some beta videos when the beta comes out. The only thing I'm disappointed about is I missed my interview because of some scheduling things. I got there 5 minutes too late, and they wouldn't let me in. But that's about it. So that's disappointing. And I bring that up because I wanted to ask if anyone, because nobody that I saw asked about like beta when, and I was gonna ask like, so when do you guys think the beta is gonna be? Because I don't think it seems like it's this year, which is kind of sad. Because it seemed like to me and everyone else that I talked to that they were more along with the expansion than we would have thought. Because they had the cinematic there. So, and all of Zuldazar that I did and all of Drustvar was like complete. Like those areas were like complete. Like completely done and finished. I encountered one bug where Bwansambi wouldn't talk to me. And then that was it. So it seemed like those were all complete. The dungeons seemed like they were done. The two that I did, or the one that I did and the one that I watched. So it seemed like a lot of the expansion is done already. It seems like. So I guess they're working on like the more technical aspects, like Warfront and the AI behind that. But there we go. So thanks everybody. We'll have beta content whenever that comes out. And I just want to thank you once again for helping me get to Blizzcon. It was super duper fun. We're gonna have some new videos coming up soon. Right now, I've actually been doing the Mage class campaign. I recorded 3 parts of that before BlizzCon and 3 parts after, and I'm about to do the final bonus part, recording it myself now. So that'll be coming out soon. But until then, thanks for watching, everyone. Stay awesome. I'm actually working on the Demon Hunter and the Hunter ones at the same time now. So hopefully those will be out at some point too, and I really want to get through all the class storylines, just so I can see them myself and so you guys can see them if you're curious. So thanks for watching, everyone. Once again, this is the 3rd time I'm going to say that, but stay awesome. I'll see you next time, and yeah, farewell.